Hello and welcome to another edition of News Showcase. I am Priya, Tamil Nadu's first artificial intelligence news presenter. Protesting farmers, backed by their unions, held a tractor rally along the Yamuna Expressway near Delhi. As a precaution, police enforced restrictions and stationed extra staff at all exit and entry points between Delhi and the commercial hub of Noida in neighboring Uttar Pradesh. The Farmers' Union SKM also observed what it called Quit WTO Day and demanded that the Indian government put pressure on industrialized nations to exclude agriculture from negotiations at the World Trade Organization. Farmers remain camped at some border crossings to march on Delhi to draw attention to their demands. Several rounds of talks with the authorities ended without an agreement. One protester died last week when they clashed with police, who fired tear gas to disperse them. Veteran ghazal singer Pankaj Udhas has died in a hospital in Mumbai after a long illness. In a statement on social media, his family said it was heartbroken. Reports said he was 72 and died on Monday at the Breach Candy Hospital after his health deteriorated rapidly. The singer was considered a legend by his fans, and his songs were embraced by millions in India and around the world. Pankaj Udhas, who made a mark as a Hindi playback singer, was honored with the coveted Padma Shri Award for his contribution to music. Reports said his funeral will take place on Tuesday. The High Court in Allahabad has upheld a lower court's decision that allowed Hindus to pray at the Gyanpavi mosque in Varanasi. Last month, a local court reopened the site for prayers, and rituals were conducted by Hindu priests at the start of this month. According to reports, the mosque has 4 cellars, and one of them contains Hindu idols, which was closed by the state government 30 years ago. The High Court's decision followed a plea by a panel that manages the mosque, which said no idols existed in the cellar, and rejected claims that prayers were offered there previously. Some believe the mosque was constructed on top of the remnants of the Kashi Vishwanath temple, and several legal cases have addressed various aspects of the controversy over the years. The president of the Indian National Lokdal in Haryana was shot and killed when unknown assailants ambushed his car. Nav Singh Rati, a former lawmaker, was pronounced dead upon arrival at the nearby hospital in Jaja district. Another person who was inside the car was also killed in the attack. The gunmen arrived in a car and opened fire at Rati's vehicle before fleeing the scene. Police have vowed to hunt down every single person involved in the attack. The strike is thought to be the work of a prominent gangster, and a property dispute is said to be the motive behind it. The opposition Congress and Aam Aadmi Party said the attack indicated the lack of safety across the state. Reports quoting India's External Affairs Ministry said Indian nationals duped into combat roles with the Russian army have been released. Western media, which quoted their families, said the men were hired as helpers in the military and were in the age group of 22 to 31. It said they were moved to the front lines under the pretext of training. Reports said the Indian government confirmed that certain Indian nationals have enlisted for support roles with the Russian army and urged all its citizens to exercise due caution and stay away from the Russia-Ukraine conflict. According to reports, agents allegedly demand up to 1.2 million rupees, and the recruits were mostly from Sri Lanka, Nepal, India, and the United Arab Emirates. Indian Coast Guard conducted a Day at Sea event to celebrate its 48th Raising Day in Chennai. 8 ships of Coast Guard with about 1,500 guests sailed out from Chennai harbour on a voyage to witness operational prowess and capabilities at sea. Ships, aircraft and helicopters demonstrated various operational capabilities of the maritime force. The guests witnessed the Coast Guard's firepower as it lowered a mock target into the sea, which was sunk by ships using weapons of various calibers, including recently the inducted fully remote-controlled SRCG gun. The event also showcased firefighting capabilities of ships at sea and aerial replenishment exercises by helicopters. After a humble start with just 2 ships in 1978, the Coast Guard has more than 150 ships and about 78 aircraft today. An investigation has been launched by Indian Railways after a freight train travelled more than 70 kilometers without drivers. According to reports, the train travelled at around 100 kilometers an hour and passed through 5 stations before coming to a stop. The train travelled from Kathua in Jammu and Kashmir to the Hoshiarpur area in Punjab on its own before it was stopped. Officials explained that the train, with 53 wagons and carrying chipstones, started moving down a slope after the driver and his assistant got off during a stop for crew change. Reports said officials closed railway crossings and placed wooden blocks on the track to reduce its speed before stopping it. Vintage car enthusiasts converged on Jaipur at the weekend to watch a stunning lineup of cars from the 40s and 60s. The spectacular event saw the participation of around 120 vintage and classic cars on Saturday and Sunday. The antique cars were transported from several states to be on display at the event. Among the notable models were the 1913 Ford, 1931 Cadillac, and the vintage Mercedes from the 1960s. A car that was recently shipped to Italy for restoration was also on display. The 1957 Chevrolet Impala and the 1947 Hudson Super 6 also made a stunning appearance. The 25th Vintage and Classic Car Show was organized by the Tourism Department of Rajasthan Government and Rajputana Automotive Sports Car Club. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has said 31,000 Ukrainian soldiers have died since Russia's full-scale invasion. The president declared that he would not reveal the number of wounded as it would help Russian military strategy. Ukrainian officials keep the number of casualties under wraps, but estimates say they are far higher than the official figures. Ukraine's Minister of Defense has said that half of all Western help to Ukraine has been delayed, and it has cost the country lives and territory. According to Zelensky, there have been 180,000 Russian soldiers have died in the war, and tens of thousands have been injured. As the war entered its third year, Ukraine is facing numerous obstacles in its effort to expel Russia from the country. A U.S. Air Force soldier set himself on fire outside the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C. to protest the Israeli military operation in Gaza. He made a live broadcast of the self-immolation on social media and reported to be in a critical condition. Although the man's name was kept private, U.S. media outlets said his social media profile matched with a Texas-based active-duty Air Force officer. But the Air Force said the man's reported status as an active-duty member could not be confirmed. 3 fire extinguishers were used by the law enforcement officials to put out the flames. The disturbing video was swiftly pulled by social media platform Twitch because it violated its policies. Following reports of progress in negotiations in Paris, Israel's war cabinet was briefed on the status of negotiations for a ceasefire in Gaza. As talks took place, police in Tel Aviv broke up a demonstration that demanded the resignation of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Protesters were met by mounted riot police at Democracy Square before they were dispersed. Talks in Paris focused on negotiations to secure a truce and the release of Israeli hostages, as well as Palestinians being held in Israeli jails. Reports said that Israel would be sending a team to Qatar this week to continue negotiations. The White House has said that the basic parameters of a temporary truce and release of hostages have been reached. Following his decisive victory over Nikki Haley in South Carolina, Donald Trump is now one step closer to receiving the Republican presidential nomination. The former president won the home state of his main rival by a 20-point margin, marking his 4th straight triumph. Trump did not criticize Haley, who had vowed to remain in the race. Rather, he focused on the November general election, which will probably be a White House rematch with his successor. It was a change from his reaction to the New Hampshire primary last month, when he angrily denounced Haley for doing a speech like she won. In her remarks, Haley, a former popular 2-term governor of South Carolina, congratulated her opponent on winning. Exquisite lantern displays have been illuminating the sky to announce the conclusion of the Lunar New Year festivities and the arrival of spring. The Lantern Festival, which follows the New Year, or the Year of the Dragon, is widely observed in Asian countries including China, South Korea, and Vietnam, as well as in expatriate groups worldwide. This weekend's celebration featured firework displays, night markets, and entertainment from dancers and performers, as well as the custom of burning lanterns. The Lunar New Year also sets off the holiday season when there's a big leap in the number of people traveling within their countries and to foreign destinations. Korean electronics giant Samsung has said its collection of wearable smart devices will soon include a smart ring. Before making the formal announcement at the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, the firm told journalists that it was testing a smart ring. Samsung did not reveal the specifications of the Galaxy Ring because it is not yet official, but it said the initial models, which come in 13 distinct sizes, were offered in gold, platinum, and black. The company said it is expected to go on sale this year, together with the Galaxy Watch and foldable phones, and indicated more information would be available on the products soon. Thank you for watching. I am Priya, Tamil Nadu's first artificial intelligence news presenter. Do tune in, same time tomorrow, for a roundup of the latest news and updates in India and around the world.